Hey everybody, off the Mike Sports Network here. Some more draft coverage here. Kind of a day after, really, we're kind of in this process of evaluating drafts and everything. But I need to say one thing. First and foremost, good for Shedeur Sanders. I'm happy he got drafted. I'm happy that this didn't become like some people, and obviously, the whole prank call thing, which was terrible. I'm not going to really get into that in this video. I may have to go into a separate one to just, reinforce a point. But let's talk about Shedeur Sanders. The coverage throughout 3 days of the NFL draft was embarrassing. It was embarrassing, and trying to do this whole poor me and frame it as like this indictment on the NFL, and some people were calling it racist, some people were saying it was Colin Kaepernick, some people it was an indictment on Deion Sanders. Guys, do you realize that there were 257 players taken? Shedeur Sanders was one of them. Do you realize how rare it is to be drafted? I've heard so many people. I've worked with so many guys who got into the NFL. Some who were undrafted, some who were taken. It is a privilege to be drafted. Just because this guy was considered one of the top prospects and fell to the 5th round because of some character concerns and because of the way he presented himself in meetings does not mean that this is a bad thing. Okay. And by extension, the same people who are wanting to dunk on him, it's like, guys, he got drafted. Yes, it was 144th in the 5th round. But still, to frame this like it is some sort of like travesty or some sort of injustice against society, like what are we doing? He got drafted. He's got an opportunity to go win a starting quarterback job in Cleveland against the guy who was drafted over him. What more motivation do you need? I actually kind of like it for this kid. Even though I have my own reservations and personal opinions about Shedeur, I actually think that this could be a good thing for him. Because when you look at it, he was being propped up and he has been coached by his father through high school, through college, through everything, and has literally been handed everything in his life. Literally been handed everything. You don't think that falling to the 5th round actually could be a good thing? Like the whole narrative around this, like say, and Mel Kiper just embarrassing himself, saying, Man, the NFL doesn't know what the fuck they're doing." Guys, this is all about, these are job interviews. Clearly, he did not connect with a lot of other teams and he fell. This happens. It's because it was a high profile player and because of what his last name is. And because he was Deion Sanders' son. And Deion Sanders is one of the greatest players, one of the greatest athletes in the history of all sports. This guy played 2 sports at a high level. He played baseball and football at a high level. One of the great athletes ever, and one of the most charismatic people, and one of the greatest competitors in the history of sports. So, like I said, no matter how I feel personally about Shedeur, I'm glad he got drafted. I don't think it's a complete injustice that he somehow fell to the 5th round and got picked 144th and was like the 7th or 8th quarterback. I can't even remember. But the point is, like, guys, just like Stephen A. Smith and all these people, and then Stephen A. Smith dared invoked Donald Trump for who went on Truth Social and was saying how could this happen? It's like that's where you've lost me immediately when we're taking the opinions of a president on what happened in a football draft. That's where you lose me. And Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith and all the like Lewis Riddick, like the ESPN coverage was a joke. The ESPN coverage was a joke. It was an absolute, complete, and utter embarrassment to the NFL whatsoever. Like it's just like, guys, I said it at the top of this video. I have talked to so many people. I've worked with so many people in my career, and I've interacted with so many people around the sport of football, or even in any sport. It is a privilege to get drafted. Do you guys realize? Yes, 257 is a large number. Do you realize how many of those guys even make it into the NFL? The fact that he got drafted, that is an accomplishment. That is an incredible accomplishment. Like really, it's insane to me that the whole narrative is around, oh, poor me. And then by extension of that, it also was to the detriment of the rest of the players that were getting drafted. We were focusing on this fall, which is embarrassing for Shedeur in itself, when in reality, it's like, hey, he was probably still going to get drafted. Had he got undrafted, we might have a different discussion. But still, it was taking away from the quarterbacks that were taken ahead of him. And it was framed as, oh, this guy is not better than Shedeur. It's like, guys, it is a football draft. It is all based on perception and how you present yourself. Whatever happened, still, he got drafted. That's what matters here. And I think that whole thing has been lost in the last 3 or so days. And now here a day after, I wanted to come on here because I've still seen the aftermath of what happened. He's going to have a realistic opportunity to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, maybe day one. I don't know. Okay. But it is a crapshoot in that quarterback room. You have Joe Flacco, the veteran. You have Kenny Pickett, another veteran who's younger. You got Dylan Gabriel, who got taken 2 rounds ahead of him. And then you got Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson, who's not going to be healthy enough to play, at least at the start of the season. I don't think he's ever going to play another down for the Cleveland Browns. You take 2 quarterbacks in the NFL draft and you make a trade and you bring in a guy who Deshaun Watson didn't want to have there because he was going to be looking over his shoulder. Like, they're not going to play him again. But the point is, with this whole narrative just surrounding Shedeur Sanders, is that let's just be happy for him. I know some people that's hard to do. Let's not frame this as some sort of negative narrative around, okay, ha ha, he fell, or oh my God, poor Shedeur, he fell down. Guys, the reality is something great happened for this young man. Even as miserable as it might have looked, it is very rare to get drafted. And yes, everybody thought he was going to go second to the Cleveland Browns. He went 144th to the Cleveland Browns. We've got to move on from this and just, see this kid's journey and see how he's going to, for the first time really in his life, outside of on the football field, like, because he's been given opportunities and, like, been in a position, he's going to face some real adversity. He's going to have to earn stuff. He got this and he earned it, but it's also a very humbling experience for him. So, guys, let's be happy that he got drafted and let's see what the rest of this holds. It's not an injustice. It's not an indictment. It's not racism. It's not anything like that. It's, for whatever reason, he fell in the draft, but he still got drafted. Okay? Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.